Imagine standing on the floodplains of North America 75 million years ago. The air is thick with the scent of conifers and the distant call of a hadrosaur. While many believe the age of the tyrants began with the massive Tyrannosaurus Rex, the true foundation of that legacy was forged in the shadows of an earlier, more savage era. Emerging from the ferns is a 9-meter-long apex predator with a skull designed for one purpose: total structural failure of its prey's skeleton. This is Daspletosaurus. It was not just a hunter. It was an evolutionary masterclass in power and persistence. This is the story of the Frightful Lizard, the robust killer that bridged the gap between primitive carnivores and the greatest king the world has ever known. The story of Daspletosaurus begins in the rich fossil beds of the Oldman Formation in Alberta, Canada. For decades, the region was dominated by discoveries of Albertosaurus and Gorgosaurus, the slender, fleet-footed tyrannosaurids of the late Cretaceous. However, in 1970, paleontologist Dale Russell noticed something different about a specific set of remains. These bones were not built for speed. They were thick, heavy, and belonged to an animal that prioritized raw power over agility. Russell officially named the genus Daspletosaurus, a name derived from the Greek words for frightful and lizard. The type species, Daspletosaurus torosus, refers to the muscular, robust nature of its body. This discovery was a landmark in dinosaur science because it proved that the Tyrannosauridae family was far more diverse than previously imagined. It revealed that multiple types of giant predators could inhabit the same environment, each specializing in a different method of the kill. To understand Daspletosaurus, one must look at its physical construction. While its contemporary Gorgosaurus was the marathon runner of the Cretaceous, Daspletosaurus was the heavyweight boxer. An adult could reach lengths of 9 meters and weigh between 2 and 3 tons. Its body was a dense mass of muscle supported by a skeleton built to withstand the tremendous stresses of grappling with large, dangerous prey. The limbs of Daspletosaurus were proportionally shorter and thicker than those of its slender cousins. This indicates that while it was capable of a terrifying sprint, it was not designed for long-distance chases. Instead, it was an ambush predator, a master of utilizing the dense foliage of the western interior seaway to close the distance before launching a crushing attack. Its center of gravity was perfectly balanced over the hips, allowing it to pivot its massive weight with surprising speed during a close-quarters struggle. The skull of Daspletosaurus was a marvel of biological engineering. Reaching a length of over 1 meter, it featured a high, deep profile that allowed for massive jaw muscle attachment. Unlike earlier theropods that had thin, blade-like teeth for slicing flesh, Daspletosaurus possessed thick, rail-spike teeth. These teeth were reinforced with deep roots and were designed to puncture through skin, muscle, and solid bone without shattering. The most significant anatomical advancement was the fusion of the nasal bones. This structural reinforcement allowed the skull to handle the immense pressure of its own bite force. When Daspletosaurus closed its jaws, it did not just wound its prey, it systematically dismantled it. The force was concentrated into a puncture and pull feeding style, where the predator would bite deep into a victim and use its powerful neck muscles to rip away entire sections of the carcass. This was the blueprint that would eventually be perfected by its descendant, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. One of the most fascinating chapters in the life of Daspletosaurus is its relationship with Gorgosaurus. For millions of years, these two apex predators shared the same territory in Alberta and Montana. In modern ecosystems, it is rare to see two giant predators of similar size occupying the same space, as competition usually drives one to extinction. Paleontologists believe they achieved this through niche partitioning. This is a biological strategy where two species use different resources within the same environment to avoid direct conflict. Gorgosaurus, with its lighter build and longer legs, likely targeted the faster, more agile duck-billed dinosaurs. Daspletosaurus, being more robust, likely focused on the heavily armored ceratopsians, such as Centrosaurus and Chasmosaurus. These horned dinosaurs were dangerous, low-slung tanks that required a predator with the strength to withstand a frontal assault and the bite force to penetrate thick neck frills. Daspletosaurus occupies a critical position in the Tyrannosaur family tree. It belongs to the Tyrannosaurinae subfamily, the group that leads directly to the giants of the latest Cretaceous. Many scientists believe that Daspletosaurus is the direct ancestor of Tyrannosaurus Rex through a process called anagenesis. This is a form of evolution where a single lineage changes so much over time that the older form is replaced by the new form without the lineage splitting into multiple branches. Between 77 and 66 million years ago, we see a clear trend in North American tyrannosaurs. Skulls become deeper, bodies become more massive, and the bite force increases. Daspletosaurus represents the moment the lineage committed to the heavyweight strategy. It moved away from the more primitive, slender designs and laid the groundwork for the most powerful terrestrial predator to ever walk the Earth. In 2017, a new species was described that changed our understanding of tyrannosaur behavior, Daspletosaurus horneri. This species, named after paleontologist Jack Horner, provided exquisite fossil evidence of the animal's soft tissue structure through the texture of its skull bones. The surface of the D. horneri snout was covered in a rugose, or wrinkled, bone texture. Scientists discovered that this was a sign of large scales, with highly sensitive nerve endings, similar to the integumentary sensory organs found in modern crocodiles. This means that despite its frightful appearance and crushing power, Daspletosaurus had a snout that was incredibly sensitive to touch. This sensory capability likely served multiple purposes. It would have been vital for detecting vibrations in the water while drinking, or for precisely manipulating prey during feeding. Perhaps most importantly, it suggests a complex social and reproductive life. These predators may have used their sensitive snouts for nuzzling, courtship, or carefully moving their young, painting a picture of a far more nuanced animal than a simple killing machine. Thanks to advanced CT scans of fossilized brain cases, we can peer into the mind of Daspletosaurus. Like its later relatives, it possessed an impressively large brain for a dinosaur of its size. Its sensory systems were tuned to the highest degree, making it an inescapable hunter in its environment. The olfactory bulbs, the parts of the brain responsible for smell, were exceptionally large. Daspletosaurus could likely track the scent of a herd from miles away, following the trail across the vast floodplains of the western interior seaway. Its inner ear structure suggests a sensitivity to low-frequency sounds, perfect for hearing the heavy footsteps of a ceratopsian or the low-frequency rumbles of its own kind. Furthermore, the placement of its eyes allowed for a degree of binocular vision. While not as advanced as the overlapping field of view found in T. Rex, it was superior to many other theropods. This depth perception was crucial for judging distances during an ambush, ensuring that its first explosive strike reached its target with lethal precision. The image of the solitary tyrannosaur stalking the woods alone is a powerful one, but the fossil record of Daspletosaurus suggests a more social existence. In several locations, bone beds have been discovered containing multiple individuals of varying ages. One specific site in Montana revealed the remains of at least 3 Daspletosaurus specimens together. While bone beds can sometimes be the result of a natural trap, such as a flooded river, the age distribution and lack of other species suggest a social group. This has led to the theory that Daspletosaurus may have hunted in family units or packs. Imagine a group of these predators working in tandem. The younger, more agile juveniles could flush prey out of the dense brush, driving them toward the massive, powerful adults waiting in ambush. Such a strategy would allow them to take down the largest and most dangerous herbivores of the Cretaceous, ensuring the survival of the group and the rapid growth of the young. The life of a Daspletosaurus was a journey of dramatic transformation. By studying specimens at different stages of life, paleontologists have mapped out its ontogeny, or growth series. A baby Daspletosaurus looked very different from the robust monster it would eventually become. Juveniles were slender, with long legs and elongated snouts. At this stage, they likely occupied a completely different ecological niche than the adults, hunting small, fast prey like ornithomimids or small lizards. They were built for speed and endurance, allowing them to avoid the larger predators of the time. As they reached their teenage years, their growth exploded. Their skulls deepened, their teeth thickened, and their weight increased exponentially. This shift in anatomy coincided with a shift in diet and hunting style. The transformation from a lithe, fast runner to a heavy, bone-crushing apex predator is one of the most remarkable examples of biological growth in the dinosaur kingdom. To truly appreciate Daspletosaurus, one must understand the world it ruled. North America was divided in half by a massive body of water known as the Western Interior Seaway. Daspletosaurus lived on the western landmass, a narrow strip of land called Laramidia. The environment was a paradise of biodiversity. The landscape was a mosaic of river deltas, lush forests, and vast coastal plains. The proximity to the sea created a humid, stable climate that supported massive amounts of vegetation. This, in turn, supported an incredible array of herbivores. From the duck-billed Parasaurolophus to the armored Edmontonia, the buffet of the Cretaceous was vast. However, these animals were not easy prey. Ceratopsians were equipped with deadly horns and massive neck frills, while ankylosaurs were living fortresses of bone. Daspletosaurus was the evolutionary response to this defenses, a predator that could not be deterred by armor or aggression. For nearly 10 million years, Daspletosaurus was the dominant force on Laramidia. It was the peak of its lineage during the Campanian stage of the Cretaceous. However, as the world began to change, the era of Daspletosaurus drew to a close. The changing sea levels and shifting climate toward the end of the Cretaceous led to a turnover in dinosaur species. The diverse world of the Campanian, with its multiple tyrannosaur species, gave way to the more uniform world of the Maastrichtian. In this new era, only one giant tyrant would remain: Tyrannosaurus Rex. While Daspletosaurus eventually vanished from the fossil record, it did not truly disappear. Its genetic legacy lived on in the giants that followed. The innovations it pioneered, the robust skull, the bone-crushing teeth, and the sensory-rich snout, became the standard for the final chapter of the dinosaur age. Today, Daspletosaurus stands as a testament to the complexity of the Cretaceous world. It reminds us that the history of life is not a simple progression from weak to strong, but a complex dance of adaptation and specialization. When we stand before a Daspletosaurus skull in a museum, we are looking at a masterpiece of natural selection. We see the scars of ancient battles, the precision of biological engineering, and the evidence of a creature that was both terrifying and sophisticated. It was a predator that ruled with absolute authority, a frightful lizard that paved the way for the most famous dinosaur in history. The study of Daspletosaurus continues to yield new secrets. From its sensitive face to its potential social structures, Every new fossil adds a layer of depth to our understanding of the Tyrant dynasty. It remains a cornerstone of North American paleontology, a window into a lost world where power was the ultimate currency. Daspletosaurus was the true architect of the Tyrannosaur legacy, a robust and formidable predator that dominated the North American landscape long before the final days of the Cretaceous. It did not rely on the speed of its ancestors, but on a lethal combination of raw strength, sensory precision, and bone-crushing power. Its presence in the fossil record proves that the evolution of the tyrants was a journey of incredible innovation and adaptation. If you are ready to continue exploring the secrets of the prehistoric world and the monsters that once ruled our planet, please consider subscribing to this channel. Your support allows us to continue bringing the stories of the past back to life with the scientific detail they deserve. What do you think would have been the outcome of a direct confrontation between the robust Daspletosaurus and the fleet-footed Gorgosaurus? Tell us in the comments below.